I'm Sherin Nicole, and today I'm hanging out at Alliance Comics in Silver Spring, sitting here with author, speaker, and Minister of Information for hip-hop legends, Public Enemy, and now comic book creator, Professor Griff.
Greetings, how are you?
And I'm well, how are you?
All right, maintaining.
And this is the new comic book. It is Who Stole the Soul, based on a Public Enemy song
yes.
off of, which was it? Not Nations of Millions, it was...
Oh, you about which album?
Which album?
Public Enemy's collection.
Ah, Public Enemy's
Yeah, because we did some remixes and some other stuff, and actually an old song.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Okay, so this is the comic book, but before we go there, I want to ask you something. I'd like to do an icebreaker. Mm-hmm. What was your first comic book? Do you remember?
Wow, I'm 55. I got some years on you, so...
Give it to me. Oh, favorite?
No, that was way back, way back when. I'm talking, yeah. I can't even remember, but yeah. It's probably a little bit before your time. It's way back when peanut butter and jelly sandwiches was popular.
Oh, really? Okay, I came in at the fluffernutter era. Okay, but so you have been in the entertainment industry for a long time, doing a lot of great things. What made you decide to make the switch to comic books?
Well, it's not necessarily a switch. I think it's a natural progression. And looking at this particular medium and using it as a vehicle, you know, and using this as a tool, mainly for parents to get a hold of it and take these lessons that I'm putting in here to bridge that gap with that next generation, especially their children. When you talk about parents in the home having that communication with their children, it's at an all-time low. Once Tay-Tay, Day-Day, and Man-Man and them get them headphones on and them beats start hitting them, they're not thinking about reading. They're not thinking about communicating with mom and dad. So maybe this could be that tool.
All right. So that's why you brought the two together, music and comic book, and that visual medium to tell the story.
Yes, but there's things in the comics that mom and dad, uncle, auntie can discuss with that next generation, yeah.
Okay, can you give us a preview of what some of those things are without spoiling it?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to do that, man. But if we're talking about the good versus evil, which we see in a lot of the comic books, in a lot of that same kind of theme, but what if we took it back to ancient Kemet and ancient Egypt, and some of those lessons, and using some of the spiritual concepts that we as a people are accustomed to using? For example, when we're talking about alchemy, and alchemy is turning base metals into gold, but what if we're talking about doing that with humans so we can kind of get right? You understand what I'm saying?
I do, absolutely.
So things of that nature, parents don't even have to be deep in order to kind of take that and teach that valuable lesson to their children. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. Talk
about the comic, talk about the story, and let the child's imagination or the young person's imagination just kind of do what it do.
All right. One of the things that really struck me in the comic is your representation of hip-hop.
Right.
Well, kind of the dual face of hip-hop, neither masculine or feminine, but both.
Right.
Yeah. How did that come about? Was that your idea, the artist? Was it collaboration?
Well, none of what you see was anyone else's idea. When I talk about EP and LP in the comic book, if you're not my age and slightly younger, you don't know what EP and LP is.
And I don't.
Well, back in the day, you know, before when the 12-inch was coming to play, the 12-inch represented the long play, which is the LP.
Yeah.
And we already know what an EP is. It's just, instead of an album, you get 3 or 4 or 5 songs, it's an EP. Yeah. So, but EP and LP wear reflective suits. So when they go to deal with their enemy, the enemy actually sees themselves. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but when I wrote hip-hop, and designed hip-hop, I wanted hip-hop to reflect the duality, the balance. We all know, dealing with natural law, when the pendulum swings one way, it's coming back. And this is how life is. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
In every man there's a woman, and every woman there's a man. So I designed hip-hop to be this androgynistic kind of duality, this kind of character, based on, once again, ancient Kemetic science, which is Ma'at, which is truth, balance, justice, and reciprocity. So it's hard for me to tell the story of hip-hop through the lens of just male perspective.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do, and I appreciate it a lot.
When there's so many men today acting like, okay, yeah, we got it. All right.
All right. Another aspect of the comic is that you feature the elders prominently.
Well, back to ancient African tradition, we're not even allowed to speak unless we get the permission from the elders, especially in the Griffin household. When I grew up, man, you talk out of turn. My mom had a wicked backhand. You understand what I'm saying? My mom ruled with an iron fist. You didn't talk out of turn. You know, you didn't speak above a whisper. God forbid if you yelled. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
That just wasn't going on in I grew up, and I'm cut from a different cloth.
Okay.
So some of them parental kind of lessons, some of those lessons,
yes,
I had to carry over and hide them in the comic book.
Yeah.
A lot of times if you do it overtly, this generation be like, I don't want to hear it. Don't preach to me.
Yeah, I do think you have to sneak up on people with knowledge nowadays.
Exactly. And some of the semi-violence that's in it, of course you have to have some. It's probably one of the things that they kind of anticipate and wait on in the comic book.
Right. I mean, especially in a good versus evil kind of struggle that's kind of superheroic. The violence, the fight, the literal fight is expected. Yeah.
But every superhero, which I'm not the superhero in it, hip-hop is.
Okay.
Have his strength and his weaknesses. Mine's just, I use my superhero kind of strength. I use the black melanated wax.
Yeah.
That I use as
like
a weapon.
throwing stars.
Right, exactly, because I kind of morphed the martial arts in with it.
Yeah.
Right. So if I have a situation where I need to deal with somebody and they're getting kind of out of hand, I might want to hit them with a Wu-Tang record through the throat, like protect your neck or something. You understand what I'm saying? So that's my strength. I dig through the crates.
I love it. Yeah. So tell me about the creative process, like you, how you got together with the artist, how you chose the artist.
I was in a comic book store, something similar to this, and this brother named Rod Brown had a rack full of his comics books. And I picked one up, and the lady behind the counter said, you know, I could introduce them to you if you'd like me to. I said, yeah, because I'm thinking about doing a comic book. And from the time I left him a voicemail message, we kind of hit it off. We sat down, we mapped it out, and he was the one, Rod Brown, that took me through the process because I was clueless. So every step of the way, I approved every color, every character, every page, every line. Yeah, so.
So what was that seed, though, that seed that sprouted to you saying, I'm going to now take this message? I know that you had a purpose that we talked about earlier.
Right.
But what was the first moment where that inspiration came that you should do a comic book to take that message further and to give parents that kind of tool?
Well, I have an 8-year-old granddaughter.
Okay.
And she doesn't call me Griff. She doesn't call me Granddad. She doesn't call me Kavan, any of those things. She calls me Black Man.
Oh, yeah?
She called me Black Man because the first time her mom told her, that's your grandfather, and she was pointing to a clip of Public Enemy on stage, and we used to wear the superhero costumes, the S1Ws across the chest. And that's what she kind of saw, and from that day, I was Black Man.
Oh, that's very
But there was already
cool.
the Black Man comic book guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I couldn't do that.
So
yeah, I just had to be me, Professor Griff, the ex-minister.
But you gotta love that.
But my 8-year-old granddaughter. Yeah.
Being a superhero to your granddaughter.
Yeah, I'm the superhero.
Yeah.
We should all be that to our children and our grandchildren.
I think so.
I'm the primary role model. And then when it gets too deep, I point to the ultimate role model, which is God.
Yes.
Right.
All right. Well, you also feature 2 of your creative counterparts in the book. I saw a cameo from Chuck D.
Chuck D and Flavor Flav, right.
Yeah. So I guess with so many years of creating together, they are kind of a part of your process a little bit?
I mean, we like connected at the ribs, so yeah, it's just one of those kind of things. We can't shake one another if we even tried. Although when Flavor did his reality show run, you barely heard of Public Enemy. So at the end of that run, people didn't even know he was in Public Enemy.
Are you kidding?
Right.
Well, I can't see any
and then even
without thinking Public Enemy.
Right, but even now, people don't associate what I do on the internet with dealing with the Illuminati's takeover of hip-hop.
Yes.
With Flavor Flav, so.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but we stuck at the hip. So, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And the phone call, the elders called Public Enemy headquarters, And Flavor Flav answered the phone.
I saw
Now
that.
try to translate that information. But Chuck snatched the phone and was like, look, Griff, we need to take care of the situation because somebody kidnapped hip-hop and we need to get it back.
Well, you guys have taught us we can't call 911.
No, right, because
So-
911 is a joke, right.
So are there any last words you want to leave us with on the comic Who Stole the Soul? And it's interesting because you name it that, and that kind of gives us a clue to the storyline.
Right, my thing is, even if I told you what the story was about, it's still not giving it away. We deal with the 5Ella. I call the formula the 5Ella. And this is the thing that makes hip-hop. And the 5 elements of hip-hop are... Okay, that's good.
No, that's what you do.
But of course we have to have what's going on now with perverting hip-hop, which is rap. And it really wasn't rap. We never called it rap back in the days. Either you was an MC or you weren't. You was the master of ceremony or you were not. And then we have the DJ, which we equate to the djembe, which is the drum.
Yeah.
All right, now those are the main 2 elements. And then, of course, the graffiti, which is the graffiti. You understand? And then it's the breaking. But we said the 5Ella. So there's one element that synthesizes the 4 elements, which is knowledge of self.
Okay.
Which synthesizes the 4 elements together. And this is the thing that hip-hop is in his spirit, in his soul. And what they did was kidnap hip-hop to attach hip-hop to this machine to extract the 5Ella, which is the formula, out of hip-hop to manufacture these artists you see today. 3 Chainz and Nicki Minaj and the rest of these characters.
So,
Yeah.
no.
Who should be in a damn comic book somewhere, getting the shit slapped out of them. But anyway, but go on.
That's issue number 2.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Because these artists today, they're like on a conveyor belt, man. It's like they download the program and they just need a physical body to put it in. Here you go, right out the door.
If you get me started talking about that with you,
That's the
we will
next
be
issue.
Here. Right. We will shut this place down.
We will be back. We're here at Alliance Comics in Silver Springs, Maryland.
Shutting it
and we'll be
down.
right back. But my next comic is the ex-minister to the edge of panic.
Okay.
I'm going to resurrect Terminator X in this one. And we're going to go back through the Public Enemy kind of catalog, and we're going to drop some stuff out.
Yeah, so it'll be a different storyline. Same characters?
Well, you got to read this one and see what happens at the end of this one
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get
to know how the next one is going to
I got
start.
to the
We're not
middle.
going to give it away.
All right.
All
But
right.
it is a continuation of the story.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I really
Professor Griff.
appreciate you.
I appreciate you
All
too.
right,
It's
cool.
great to meet you. I've been watching you for a long time.
Okay, you thought I was tall?
No, well, you are tall. You are tall.
But it's my pleasure.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much from myself and also from Professor Griff, Alliance Comics. Thanks a lot, Gerard. And we'll see you soon.